Denmark, a Nordic country with stunning landscapes, historic castles and palaces, Denmark is a destination still little explored by Brazilians. Although it is small in territorial extension, Denmark is huge in culture, cuisine, and natural beauty. Attractions like Tivoli, The Little Mermaid, and Legoland have fascinated visitors around the world for years. Furthermore, the country appears in the top 3 of the happiest in the world in recent years, according to the United Nations World Happiness Report. So, if you want to know everything about Denmark, stay until the end of this video and get to know this incredible country. The starting point to find out everything about Denmark is to find out where it is located. Also known as the birthplace of the ancient Vikings, it is one of the Nordic countries located in Northern Europe. The country covers the Jutland Peninsula and 406 islands in the Baltic and North Seas. It is estimated that more than 75 of them are inhabited, but there are no official numbers. The main islands are Zealand, Skjæland, the largest island in the country, which is separated from Sweden only by a strait whose margin is home to the capital Copenhagen, Funen, Fyn, and peripheral islands, Vendsyssel, Lolland-Falster, and Bornholm, while the smaller islands are referred to as the Danish archipelago. Denmark is the southernmost of the Nordic countries. It borders Germany to the south, and Sweden to the east, and to the north and west it is bathed by the North Sea. Its territory covers 43,094 square kilometers, ranking 133rd on the list of largest countries in the world. Denmark is the southernmost of the Nordic countries. It borders Germany to the south, and Sweden to the east, and to the north and west it is bathed by the North Sea. The country is flat and has few elevations, so much so that the highest points are just 170 meters above sea level. The flag is called the Dannebrog, which means flag of the Danes or red and white flag. The background color is red, which symbolizes courage and bravery, while the cross is white representing Christianity. Legend has it that it fell from the sky during the Battle of Reval, in Estonia, in 1219 and became an inspiration for several other flags due to its shape and composition, especially the flags of other Nordic countries such as Sweden, Norway, Finland, and Iceland. Despite being considered small in territory and population, this European country played an important role in the history of the continent. Danish expansion in the Viking Age lasted from the 9th century to the 11th century. Viking warriors of Danish, Swedish, and Norwegian origin conquered much of the continent during this period. Active mainly in the British Isles and Western Europe, they temporarily conquered parts of England, Ireland, and France when they founded Normandy. At various times in history, the country also controlled Norway, Sweden, and parts of the Virgin Islands and the Baltic coast, where northern Germany is today. In 1397, the country comprised all of Scandinavia and had Iceland under its rule. After several wars, Sweden managed to leave the Union in 1523. Denmark's second loss occurred almost 3 centuries later, when the country was forced to return Norway to the Swedes. The current size of the country is due to resignations and forced handovers of land, in addition to lost battles, such as the Second Schleswig War, in 1864, when the King of Denmark had to cede the duchies of Schleswig and Holstein to Prussia, an episode that had a profound impact on the country's national identity. Want to know everything about Denmark? So it's important to keep in mind that during the Second World War, the Germans occupied Danish territory. At the end of the war, in 1945, the country recognized Iceland's independence and 3 years later granted autonomous status to the Faroe Islands. On the other hand, Greenland only gained its autonomy in 1979. Copenhagen is the capital and also the largest city in Denmark. With an area of approximately 88.25 square kilometers, the Danish capital is one of the most important municipalities in the country. Its residents are considered the happiest people in the world, especially because of the high quality of life. Culturally diverse, it is the destination chosen by people from all over the world to live. The majority of its more than 600,000 inhabitants are of Danish origin, followed by immigrants from other countries such as Morocco, Pakistan, Poland, Iraq, Germany, Sweden, Norway, and Italy. Something that can be quite curious when learning everything about Denmark and even surprising for Brazilians is the way people move around the cities. There, public transport works very well and you can always count on the bike to take you somewhere. That's right, in Denmark, especially in Copenhagen, many people use bicycles to get around the city. The city is flat and is prepared with lanes and traffic lights for cyclists, which helps a lot. So, having a car is considered a huge luxury. Denmark is on the list of the best countries to work and live. According to the Numbeo website, Denmark is the 7th country with the highest cost of living in the world. One of the factors that highlights this is the high price per M superscript 2 in the country, which costs around 25,351,000 krona, the equivalent of 15,534 Brazilian reals, according to the September 2019 exchange rate. On the other hand, the salary in Denmark is also high. On average, a professional earns around 120 krona per hour. However, this remuneration varies depending on the occupation, city, and size of the company. But of course, the cost of living in the country fluctuates according to lifestyle, consumption, and other factors that influence the monthly budget. Below we list the main expenses that a person would have living in the country. Danish is the official language of the Kingdom of Denmark and spoken by the majority of the country's inhabitants. However, if you believe you know everything about Denmark, it is interesting to discover that there are other minority regional languages, such as Faroese, which is characteristic of the Faroe Islands. As for culture, the Danes are proud of their countless traditions, history, and intellectual heritage gained over the years. Furthermore, Danish society has some extremely deep-rooted values, especially when it comes to solidarity, equality, and trust. It is impossible to know everything about Denmark without seeing some of its most famous tourist attractions. You can't go to Denmark and not see at least one castle. Starting with Ijskov, in the city of Odense, a place full of history and considered one of the country's greatest symbols. Frederiksborg Castle in Hillerød also has beautiful surroundings, with a richly decorated lake and fountain, and is known as one of the most sumptuous buildings in Europe. The interior details are worked in gold. Fans of literature and architecture will be fascinated by Kronborg Castle, in Helsingør, where the story of Hamlet, by William Shakespeare, takes place. The building is rich and considered one of the Renaissance symbols of Northern Europe and houses a beautiful art exhibition. Here are 11 interesting facts about Denmark. 1. Full happiness. Denmark is the happiest country in the world, according to the UN. 2. Beaches. Denmark has over 7,000 kilometers of coastline, and you are never more than 50 kilometers away from the sea. 3. Hamlet. Kronborg Castle, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is the most visited castle in Denmark, welcoming more than 200,000 people annually. It is, at the same time, an elegant Renaissance castle and a monumental military fortress. Playwright William Shakespeare was inspired by him to write one of his most famous plays, Hamlet. 4. Tivoli Gardens. Tivoli Gardens is the second largest amusement park in the world, and the most popular attraction in Denmark. It is said that Walt Disney visited and was inspired to build Disneyland. 5. No please. In the Danish dictionary, the word please does not exist. 6. Lego. The name Lego is an abbreviation of the Danish words leg godt, which means to play well. The company was founded in 1932 by a Dane named Ole Kirk Christensen. The famous pieces began to be manufactured in 1958. 7. The country of bicycles. Denmark has twice as many bicycles as cars. More than half of the citizens of Copenhagen, the Danish capital, commute to and from work by bicycle. The city is dominated by cycle paths, parking lots for transport, and special traffic signs for them. 8. Islands. Denmark has more than 400 islands, but only around 70 of them are inhabited. 9. Smallest hotel in the world. The Hotel Central in Copenhagen is the smallest hotel in the world. With just one room, which measures less than 1 square meter, it is located above a small cafe. 10. A lot of rain. In Denmark, it always rains or snows every 2 days. The country has an average of 171 days with rain per year. 11. No weird names. Denmark has a list of 7,000 pre-approved names that parents can choose from to name their babies. If your name is not on the list, you must seek special permission from local church and government officials to choose it. Of the 1,100 names evaluated each year, a fifth of them are rejected. Last but not least, I leave here a photo of the most important person in Denmark, Queen Margaret II, the first woman to assume the throne in this country.